Tenenbaum's savior was never a rescue. A little sister's scream fractures the air as the extractor's jaws snap shut. Her eyes widen out with pain, but the terror of a child understanding too late. Slow, but the little true wound is the void left behind. Extractor's jaws' methodical snap erosion of shut Tenenbaum's innocence tool did not save. It shattered. Her Tenenbaum's eyes' savior compliance was not never widen out with a pain rescue programmed. Slow, Extractor's jaws' methodical snap erosion of shut Tenenbaum's innocence tool did not save. How does a soul become a weapon? By making it beg for the very thing that breaks it. Bridget Tenenbaum's voice fractures. They are not children, they are weapons. The extractor's glow isn't salvation, it's a wound carved slow. Each harvest sears a memory, each gasp a conditioned plea. What seems a rescue is a ritual of breaking. The device doesn't extract Adam, it etches obedience into trembling flesh. Innocence isn't lost here, it's repurposed, a trigger for compliance. How does a soul become a weapon? By making it beg for the very thing that shatters it. The extractor's architecture was precision crafted, mechanical arms coiled like serpents, neural dampeners pulsed with calibrated brutality. Each component served a singular purpose, to fracture the mind while preserving the body's utility. Trauma became the currency. The little sisters, once children, were bound to this rhythm pain as a metronome, compliance as its echo. Their screams were engineered into silence, not through death but through erasure. Tenenbaum's salvation was a lockpick for the soul. Adam flowed freer when fear oiled the gears. Rapture's economy thrived on this paradox. The more a child suffered, the more the city prospered. The extractor did not merely harvest bioenergetic fuel. It forged docility from dread, turning victims into laborers who forgot they were prisoners. Efficiency was not an accident. It was the byproduct of psychological annihilation. Every vial of Adam distilled a lifetime of terror. The little sisters did not choose this. They were never asked. Their innocence was the raw material. Their broken wills, the final refinement. Rapture's architects called it progress. A sacrament of erasure, yes, but also a ledger entry. The city's ascent was written in the ink of stolen childhoods, and the extractor, it was both instrument and inscription. The extractor's architecture was precision crafted, mechanical arms coiled like serpents, neural dampeners pulsed with calibrated brutality. Each component served a singular purpose, to fracture the mind while preserving the body's utility. Trauma became the currency. The little sisters, once children, were bound to this rhythm pain as a metronome, compliance as its echo. Their screams were engineered into silence, not through death but through erasure. Tenenbaum's salvation was a lockpick for the soul. Adam flowed freer when fear oiled the gears. Rapture's economy thrived on this paradox. The more a child suffered, the more the city prospered. The extractor did not merely harvest bioenergetic fuel. It forged docility from dread, turning victims into laborers who forgot they were prisoners. Efficiency was not an accident. It was the byproduct of psychological annihilation. Every vial of Adam distilled a lifetime of terror. The little sisters did not choose this. They were never asked. Their innocence was the raw material. Their broken wills, the final refinement. Rapture's architects called it progress. A sacrament of erasure, yes, but also a ledger entry. The city's ascent was written in the ink of stolen childhoods, and the extractor, it was both instrument and inscription. Tenenbaum knew its hum. The extractor's whisper was a language of stolen breath, a leveraged prayer. It did not merely harvest, it haunted. Each activation etched a phantom weight into the little sister's mind, a debt of terror paid in obedience. She had not built it, but she had let it be built. For years, her hand strained in the calculus of Auschwitz measured the cost of survival against the price of silence. The extractor's gears ground the same moral rust. When she rebelled, it was not with a scientist's precision, but a survivor's reckoning. The device shed once called a savior now screamed in her dreams. Asterisk, what do you owe the innocent when you've let them bleed? Asterisk, the trauma was the currency. The little sisters did not choose compliance. They were conditioned to crave the extractor's pain as a crutch, their innocence hollowed into a vault. Tenenbaum's guilt became a second extractor, gnawing at her own soul. She could not unmake the horror, only bear witness to its duality, tool and trauma, salvation and scar. In the end, her rebellion was a single act of defiance asterisk, to name the thing for what it was asterisk. The Extractor was no relic of progress, it was a confession, and Tenenbaum, its reluctant scribe, wrote the final entry in blood. What if salvation was the first wound? The Extractor didn't just drain Adam, it carved obedience into trembling minds. Tenenbaum's savior didn't heal it haunted, a loop of terror dressed as mercy. What does a child become after the trauma they're taught to crave? The Extractor was no salvation, it was a scalpel of ideology, carving compliance from shattered trust. Rapture did not merely harvest Adam, it harvested souls, reducing innocence to inventory. Andrew Ryan's philosophy demanded efficiency, but Tenenbaum's device perfected the cruelty. A child's scream became currency, their terror a ledger entry. How does a system justify this? By calling it progress. The little sister's rescue was a ritual of subjugation, each extraction a re-traumatization. Tenenbaum, who survived Auschwitz, built this engine of psychological annihilation. Her trauma did not teach her to heal. It taught her to weaponize helplessness. The Extractor's hum was a lullaby of control, its needles both medical and symbolic piercing flesh, piercing the mind. To make a child beg for the pain, to make them crave the loop. This was Rapture's true legacy, not Adam but the erasure of humanity. Tenenbaum's rebellion was not against the system. It was a mirror held to its rot. She knew what Ryan refused to see: there is no moral calculus where children are assets, only graves and the Extractor. It was the shovel. The diary's pages curl, where saltwater seeped through burial at sea's shattered hull. Ink bleeds through sketches of the Extractor surgical steel, jagged as a child's scream. Tenenbaum's salvation clamped tight, its tubes not just draining Adam but memory, identity, the fragile sense of self. Each cycle left the little sister hollowed, not of fluid but of fear. The device hummed a lullaby of pain, conditioning compliance through the very act of survival. To resist meant the drill's return, the body's betrayal, the mind fracturing to escape the loop. The diary's final entry whispers, asterisk the light goes out and I am not a girl anymore. Asterisk no medical tool could sterilize this. The Extractor was a sculptor of trauma, its legacy etched in Rapture's rusted bones. The sea claims the diary now. The sea claims us all, but the pages remain, and they remember. The Extractor's hum was a hymn of violation, a mechanical womb fused to flesh, its jagged teeth gnawing at the spine like a father's kiss. Tenenbaum's salvation was a scaffold of pipes and pistons, each bolt a scar, each hiss of vapor a dirge for stolen childhoods. The little sisters did not weep, they could not. Their nerves had been rewired to scream in silence, their minds pickled in the brine of conditioned obedience. What mercy could there be in a device that turned daughters into data, their innocence a battery for Rapture's hunger? The body horror was not just in the metal that grew into their bones, but in the ideology that birthed it, a city so drunk on self-interest it mistook cruelty for progress. The Extractor did not extract, it asterisk erased asterisk. Every drop of Adam siphoned was a drop of soul spilled, a testament to the lie that freedom could be engineered. Rapture's bones are not rusted, they are asterisk cracked asterisk under the weight of its own mirror. The sea does not claim the Extractor. It trembles, and in its depths the screams still crystallize. Sophia Lamb's new Rapture promised salvation. Tenenbaum's Extractor delivered torture. A crown of gears and grief, it hollowed Adam while carving compliance into trembling minds. The little sisters did not surrender, they were sculpted, their innocence a medium for Lamb's godhood. How many souls fueled her ascension? The sea keeps